What is the price of a single loaf of bread? If you are starving in early 19th century France, the price is exactly 19 years of your life, spent in the brutal chains of a prison galley. But what happens when that prisoner is finally released into a world that refuses to forgive him? Welcome to Victor Hugo's Les Misérables, a sweeping epic of injustice, revolution, and the ultimate battle between cold, unyielding law and radical, life-changing mercy. This isn't just a story about history. It's a mirror held up to the darkest corners of human nature and a testament to the power of redemption. Act 1. The Rebirth of Jean Valjean. Our story begins in 1815 with Jean Valjean. Jailed for nearly 2 decades just for stealing bread to feed his sister's starving child, he emerges from prison hardened, bitter, and full of hatred for a society that discarded him. Shunned by everyone because of his yellow passport, the mark of a convict. Valjean is finally taken in by a saintly man, Bishop Myriel. But Valjean, consumed by survival instincts, betrays his host and steals the bishop's silver plate in the dead of night. When the police catch Valjean with the stolen goods, the unexpected happens. Instead of condemning him, the bishop tells the police the silver was a gift, and even hands Valjean 2 silver candlesticks, telling him, "With this silver, I have bought your soul. I withdraw it from black thoughts and from the spirit of perdition, and I give it to God." This profound act of grace shatters Valjean's cynicism. He tears up his yellow passport, breaks his parole, and adopts a new identity. Years pass, and through hard work and a brilliant invention, he transforms himself into Monsieur Madeleine, a wealthy factory owner and the deeply respected mayor of a northern town. Act 2. The Pursuit and the Promise. But Valjean's past is a shadow he cannot outrun. Enter Inspector Javert, a dogmatic lawman who views the world in absolute black and white. To Javert, a criminal is always a criminal, and breaking the law is an unforgivable sin against divine order. Javert recognizes the mayor's incredible physical strength and begins to suspect his true identity. Meanwhile, Valjean crosses paths with Fantine, a tragic young woman working in his factory. Fired by a cruel supervisor because she has an illegitimate child, Fantine falls into absolute destitution. To pay for her daughter's care, she sells her hair, her teeth, and eventually, her body. Before Fantine dies of tuberculosis, a guilt-ridden Valjean promises her on her deathbed that he will find and protect her daughter, Cosette. Just as Javert closes in to arrest him, Valjean escapes, tracks down little Cosette, who is being abused and exploited by the villainous innkeepers, the Thénardiers, and flees with her to the bustling, dangerous streets of Paris. For years, they live in hiding, Valjean raising Cosette as his own daughter in a secluded convent. Act 3. Love, Rebellion, and the Barricades. Fast forward to 1832. Paris is a powder keg. The gap between the wealthy elite and the desperate poor has grown into a chasm. Cosette has grown into a beautiful young woman, and during a rare outing, she locks eyes with Marius Pontmercy, a passionate, idealistic student revolutionary. It is love at first sight. Marius belongs to the Friends of the ABC, a group of students plotting an armed uprising to overthrow the monarchy. When a popular defender of the poor, General Lamarck, dies, the students ignite the 1832 June Rebellion. They build massive barricades in the narrow streets of Paris, ready to fight and die for freedom. Discovering Cosette's love for Marius and realizing the young man is trapped on the deadly barricades, Valjean makes a choice. Instead of fleeing Paris to keep Cosette to himself, he puts on a National Guard uniform and goes to the front lines. Not to fight the revolution, but to save the man his daughter loves. The climax, the judgment of Javert. At the barricades, the worlds of Les Misérables violently collide. The rebellion is brutally crushed by the army. Amidst the chaos, Javert is captured by the students as a spy. In an incredible twist of fate, the students hand Javert over to Valjean to be executed. But instead of taking revenge on his lifelong tormentor, Valjean cuts Javert's ropes and sets him free. As the barricade falls, Marius is shot and knocked unconscious. Valjean hoists the bleeding young man onto his shoulders and escapes into the only place left, the dark, suffocating labyrinth of the Paris sewers. When Valjean finally emerges into the daylight, Javert is waiting for him. But Javert's rigid mind is broken. By sparing his life, Valjean has shown him a higher justice, mercy. Unable to reconcile his duty to the law with the moral nobility of the convict he hunted, Javert suffers a profound existential crisis. He lets Valjean go and, in despair, throws himself into the rushing waters of the River Seine. Conclusion and takeaway. Marius recovers and marries Cosette, ensuring her future happiness. Valjean, his promise to Fantine completely fulfilled, grows old and prepares to die. On his deathbed, surrounded by the 2 children he saved, the silver candlesticks from the bishop shine brightly beside him. Victor Hugo's epic closes on a timeless truth, wrapped in Valjean's final breath: to love another person is to see the face of God. Les Misérables reminds us that while human laws can be brutal and unforgiving, the human spirit, through love and sacrifice, is utterly indestructible. Tips for your video production. Pacing. Keep the delivery steady, not too fast. Let the heavy emotional moments, like the Bishop's Grace or Fantine's Tragedy, breathe. Music track. Start with a dark, melancholic orchestral piece, shift to an intense/rhythmic track during the Act 3 rebellion, and end with a grand, emotional, and hopeful crescendo.